Born from the creative synergy between Victoria Legrand and Alex Staley, Beach House has become a true force in the indie music scene over the past few decades. As 2024 marks a stunning 20 years since the band's formation, I figured it prudent to explore one of my all-time favorites by the Baltimore-based indie dream pop duo. By the time Teen Dream dropped via Sub Pop on January 26, 2010, Beach House had already delivered us two crucial albums in their journey: a self-titled debut in 2006 and Devotion in 2008, both on Carpark Records. I'm going to take a look inside the band's formation, release of the duo's first two albums, to the recording, the artwork, and the history of Teen Dream. Join me as I unravel the enigmatic soundscape of the 2010 album Teen Dream by Beach House, an album that redefined the dream pop genre. Take a look at the cover art and you'll see why the opening track, Zebra, is the perfect intro to Teen Dream. Somewhat abstract and discolored compared to reality, and close cropped, the cover art reflects a herd of zebras. In the opening lyrics of the song, Legrand sings, "You know you're gold," and the color, although a bit more yellow, kind of reflects that. In a 2019 interview with KEXP, as recounted in an expose from American Songwriter on Zebra, Legrand noted, "Alex had written most of the musical arrangement, and when I heard it, this was another brain looking in on what someone else had created. And I immediately thought I had written some things, but the zebra imagery kept coming to my brain. It was what I was seeing, the patterns crossing. That comes from the music and how the music ignited something in my mind and my visual imagination." I find it fascinating the various ways creators create, be it music, art, design. Everyone has their own unique form and formula, from rigid structure to absolute chaos. And when the pieces come together, it's pure gold. I think Zebra is a great example of this. The song has, for the last decade and a half, stood the test of time. Legrand continues with the following: "Alex and I write differently, and we write in different ways, and we work differently, and we work in different ways. Alex will work a little bit every day. I will go days sometimes without working and then have some idea for a melody or lyric or a piano part or something. I think the catharsis is when you let go of it all in the end, and then it becomes this other thing that is no longer yours. It's other people's, and other people are experiencing it, and it has all these new things, and I think that is an incredible moment." While the article focused specifically on the song Zebra, I think it's a bit indicative of the album as a whole and of the artwork as well. After an extended tour in support of Devotion, the band was filled with energy and excitement and ideas around what would become Teen Dream. I know that excitement, when you have these ideas flowing around, you don't quite have the space or time to really sit down and flesh them out. You want to, and you kind of ache to, but you just don't have that moment. So when the moment arose, Beach House entered the studio. They wanted to create something a bit more sophisticated than Devotion and Beach House, and this required a bit of new direction. Every penny they got, they spent. It's here in the studio we find the culmination of their transformation. Their approach varied compared to their prior albums, and the result features a surprising lack of reverb compared to their Carpark releases. The recording took place in upstate New York at the coveted and converted church, Dreamland. And to produce and engineer the record, they tapped Chris Cody, who had previously worked with the likes of Yeah Yeah Yeahs, TV on the Radio, Grizzly Bear. He was also responsible for a personal favorite of mine, 23 by Blonde Redhead. And he would ultimately work on the 2017 self-titled Slowdive album after their reunion. With Teen Dream, the duo honed their distinctive sound they created on their first two albums, but truly found their stride with this release. The album fully leaned into their artistic evolution, showcasing a refined blend of dream pop and indie rock. A key single from the album is Silver Soul. One interesting fact about this track is that producer DJ Dahi samples the track's intro in reverse on Kendrick Lamar's Money Trees. Personally, I love the song by Lamar, and it kind of surprised me it's actually sampled from Beach House. But let's turn to the song itself. We could dig into the symbolism here, and for that, I'm turning to Reddit. User NerdHappyJP notes the symbolism, pointing out metal as opposed to color. Silver represents purity to the point of anti-corruption. Think about it. How do you kill werewolves? What burns vampires? With that in mind, the silver soul is the coil that's running through us. It's this incorruptible, pure essence of the soul that remains through everything else. It is happening again. However you perceive that obsession, love, darkness, pain, etc., that can't affect the silver soul. Change that part of life, but the silver soul is that which doesn't change. Personally, I love that. So good. I could not have said it better myself. Here's a quote from Pitchfork's Stuart Berman, who penned the album review for the publication. Teen Dream did little to alter Beach House's core characteristics. Slow motion beats layered with hazy keyboard drones, rippling guitar figures, and Victoria Legrand's melancholic melodies, but greatly amplified them to the point of redefining the band's essence, from that of introverted knee-gazers into an assured, emotionally assertive force. Reviews from various sources, Stereo Gum, Medium, Pitchfork, etc., all attest to the album's immersive qualities. Pitchfork's review highlighted the album's emotional depth, calling it, quote, an album of grandiose gestures and sublime grace. Meanwhile, Consequence praised its cohesive nature, noting that it's as perfectly sequenced and paced as a film. Pop Matters emphasized how Teen Dream captivates with its sonic richness and poetic lyricism, making it an album that lingers long after the music stops. I'd agree with that. NME ranked it among their top 500 greatest albums of all time in 2013, and a year later it found a welcome home in the book 1001 Albums You Must Hear Before You Die. Not to mention, Pitchfork ranked it at number 21 on the top albums of 2010s, and of course, it peaked on the Billboard 200 at 43. Here's what NME had to say about Legrand's vocals. Victoria's voice has a new force to it, exercising the control of her classical training for the end of each line to flare like a freshly struck match. So the consensus seemed to be, and rightfully so, that Teen Dream included a lot more core musical traits Beach House had given us in their first two albums. They just took it up a notch, a very significant notch at that. Teen Dream's immersive, emotionally charged compositions continue to resonate, inviting listeners into a world where music transcends mere sound, becoming an emotive journey through the depths of human experience. I touched on Zebra and Silver Soul earlier in the video, but what about the rest of the track list? Following the power pair of openers is Norway, an original favorite that has since seemed to decline in its staying power. I'm not alone in this. There are multiple threads on Reddit that touch on this. However, many also note that it's one that really must be heard live, with some even pointing out that the iTunes session version tops the studio recording. I can't imagine the album without it, but it's not one I tend to seek out digitally and listen to on its own. The transformation Beach House underwent on Teen Dream is, in a sense, what all budding bands want: to go all in on their music career. However, the transition from the daily grind of working life into a burgeoning full-time musician is one that isn't without its own set of struggles and heartbreak. Walk in the Park finds the band dipping their toes into these waters. In a 2010 Vanity Fair article covering the song's video, author Mike Hogan notes, quote, both insinuated that they had not merely given up their day jobs, but had gone as far as to break off their relationships in order to focus exclusively on music. The article counters this statement a bit, but I like to think that it's about letting go. It makes that all the more powerful. There's a bit of heartbreak to it that you get in the song. Used to Be follows suit, with the Carpark Records site for the song's single stating that it contemplates the spiritual and physical effects of life on the ever-changing road, love, and getting older. I don't really have much to say about Seaside Opener Love of Mine, aside from the fact that I love this song. I don't really know if it's happy or sad, though commenters online seem to lean toward it being a song about the lure of cheating, or a one-night stand, or maybe even a threesome. Better Times and 10 Mile Stereo both pack some great melodies and have a lasting imprint on my fandom for the band. The latter opens the D-side powerfully before Beach House kind of retracts a bit with the mellow, piano-laden ballad, Real Love. The album concludes with Take Care, a song that actually hits number 2 for the album in terms of Spotify plays, currently butting up against the 60 million mark as of the filming of this video. I think it's a truly solid closer and definitely earns that number 2 spot. Digging deeper into this track, I hear traces of what we'd find on Depression Cherry, in particular one of my all-time favorites from that album, Wishes. The song fades out as Legrand sings, "I'll take care of you," over and over and over. And as it fades, I realize the power of these words and the power that this music has had on all of us. In a sense, she speaks the truth, providing solace and comfort when we might feel down, a head-nodding melody when we're feeling kind of good. And as Alex Scaley noted in the NME article, they succeeded in giving us a make-out and grinding record for when we're feeling a little horny. 3 years after its release, in an interview talking about the successes of the album, Legrand would state, "I see this as just another step in a direction. I would not want to say that 2010 will be our year necessarily. I hope it's just another year in which we do good work. I don't want to be defined by this year. I just want it to be a beginning." And a beginning it was. By 2013, the Teen Dream follow-up, Bloom, had been out a year, garnering further acclaim for the band. 3 years later, they'd give us 2. The widely heralded Depression Cherry with the stunning viral track Space Song, and the somewhat understated Thank Your Lucky Stars. The band continues to churn out great work, including the 2022 double LP, Once Twice Melody, and its companion EP a year later, Become. They've cemented themselves as a modern cornerstone of the sub-pop lineup. Looking back on Beach House's earlier work, Teen Dream marked a truly pivotal moment in the career of the duo. Critically, it became an instant classic, though probably not as lauded as Depression Cherry. Teen Dream showcases Beach House's growth while maintaining the essence of their signature sound. As mentioned in American Songwriter, the album is a testament to the band's knack for creating music that's simultaneously introspective and expansive, drawing listeners into a world of wonder. Teen Dream isn't just an album, it's an enchanting reverie that continues to captivate audiences close to 15 years later, solidifying its position as a timeless masterpiece in the realm of indie music and dream pop alike. Next, see where I place the album in my Beach House ranked video and what my thoughts are on the other albums that they've released since their debut. As one YouTube commenter stated, "This dude's a damn nerd." My name's Andy, this here is the Vents Post Vinyl channel, and I'll see you in the next video.